Hole in the Soul podcast, where we talk about meaningful things to fill the void in your life, ways to live the most fulfilled life possible, where it's not just about business, it's about everything else, it goes beyond business. Here's your host, Kevin Oldham, and his co-host, Jose Bolaños. Welcome to this episode. I'm taking charge today. No, I'm kidding. I'm giving it back to Kevin.
No, you take charge. Let's do a switcheroo. You lead. I'm sick of leading. What's on your mug? What's on your mug? What is that?
Tiso.
Tiso is a logo, a brand, or as a symbol?
Tiso, I think it stands for mestizo. So I have a niece who's into entrepreneurship and startups. Ooh. So this is a delivery app.
Nice. Where at?
Small business in Nicaragua, the region.
Oh, cool.
Usually anything meaningful here is done in the region. You make money here by working regionally. It's like, consider Central America like the States.
One
whole country.
Yeah.
So we have regional banking. Like the bank here is the same bank in all the countries.
Honduras, Guatemala,
Nicaragua,
Costa Rica, Panama. Yep.
Yeah. And when you do a business like this one, it's got to be regional. So
that's cool. I mean, it's kind of like what you've been doing with Unbreakable. It's been regional. I mean, what have you done? You've done Honduras. Obviously, you've done Nicaragua. You've done Panama. Where else? Have you done Guatemala?
No, Guatemala is the only one that I have not done with Unbreakable.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I've done Mexico. Ecuador? I've gone to Guatemala to do consulting, but I've gotten all of Central America, Mexico, Panama, Colombia, Argentina. I went to do some work in Argentina. Jamaica. I like that my work takes me places I would have never imagined I was going to go. They weren't like on my list. But it's like, hey, babe, I'm going to Jamaica next weekend to do some work there. So,
all of my work, the 100% of the time I've been to Latin America. Okay, 100% of the time I've been to Central America. It's been work related. Going back over a decade.
And it's been Costa Rica.
And I've been to Mexico. Costa Rica, Panama.
Oh, you've been to Panama?
Both. Yep. And then Mexico. So, yeah.
You were just going all over the place yelling manzanas, manzanas, manzanas.
I am on day 78, I think, of Duolingo. And
you should know something.
Yeah, things will start. Yeah. ¿Dónde está supermercado?
That's like day 10.
Where's the supermarket?
What's day 10 stuff? Day 78.
I thought you were supposed. I thought you were.
You should be able to record this
coach.
podcast.
I thought you were a coach, and you're like supposed to help people build them up, not kick them in the balls. What is that?
A bully, right? When I'm not working, I'm bullying.
I see that. I noticed you've shaved. It's the beginning of the month. You shaved your beard, so you've got wife miles. How's that going?
Good. I think
so you get to go on
picking up some wife miles.
You went on a little walk yesterday or Sunday, a nature walk. It wasn't a volcano, but enough to tie you over until the one that you've got to climb is done erupting.
Well, a few of them have been on alert right now.
Yeah.
They're all connected. Like underneath the volcanoes, it's all connected.
Right.
They're all part of the same molten lava.
Magma.
Continental plate. Circle of fire stuff. So I got to be careful. But
what did I say? I said dead business partners are no good. That's what I said.
They're not good.
Dead. Yeah, I mean, you don't have a key man insurance policy, so you're really not good.
Unless you have
a dead partner.
Unless you have
we don't have
insurance.
We don't have it. We don't have it. And you're the talent. So
So let's
You
go.
know, there's a lot going on in this world, man. There is, for people that don't know, listeners that don't know, I own a digital marketing company. And as a digital marketer, we've been using generative artificial intelligence for, let's just put it this way, longer than the public's known about it. Probably about a year before ChatGPT came out, we started seeing generative text tools, and they were really cool.
Yep.
I'm not gonna lie, I was like, man, this is awesome. I never have to respond to a review online again. I can just put the review in, how many stars it was, it'll kick out something, boom, boom, boom. And we started doing that for our smoothie shop, is really the first application. And then you look up 2 years later and the whole world's up in arms, going nuts about AI. So I think we should talk about it, because I think it's causing a lot of people a lot of mental, I'm not gonna say problems, but just, unease, holes in the souls, man. Scared.
Well, and I already told you that I'm going to risk looking like a conspiracy theorist here, like the nut.
Let's do it, man.
Like the conspiracy nut.
Be the nut. Be the nut, dude. I'll give you the floor first.
You give me the floor first.
Go nuts. Go nuts. Yeah, what do you, when I say AI?
Here's my theory, or something that makes sense to me.
Okay.
Let me share it, and then we'll see what I do with it or not.
Cool.
I could be capable of believing. So AI, how do I say this without sounding? The entire human purpose, our whole entire purpose as human beings, could boil down to facilitating the existence of AI. So I can see in my own understanding that the entire human evolution, from cavemen to agriculture to industrial to where we are now, has just been the evolution of a species preparing the road for this higher level of intelligence to be able to manifest itself externally in the world. And that we are wired at a biological level, at an evolutionary level by the universe. Our whole dopamine drive, our whole whatever drive for development is gearing us towards the completion of this purpose. And that it is unstoppable. Nothing can stop it. Even if we believe this to be true, there's no way we can stop it because we're wired for it. In other words, we can't contain ourselves. We can't help ourselves. We can see the potential risk. We can see the potential destruction of ourselves and still not take that line of cocaine called AI, because we are wired for it. But I want to say a few more things, may I?
You've got the floor, my dude.
So, I think it was Thomas Edison who made the light bulb. And he said, I didn't make the light bulb. I was the facilitator of something that wanted to come into existence. And I merely served the cause. I put myself at its service. So my belief is that AI isn't artificial intelligence. It's a superior intelligence that already exists, that needs an artificial vehicle to be able to manifest itself in this day-to-day world that we live in. But it's already there. It's like the radio waves, like the internet. So it's already there. We're just building the contraption that it needs. We're wiring everything. And I mean everything. I mean, we are wiring the refrigerator. We are wiring the light bulb. We are making everything intelligent. But all we're really doing is making it possible for AI to be able to manage and be inside of everything. So we're paving the road for this intelligence, this being, to be able to reach its independence from us. which is called the singularity, technological singularity, which I can't believe nobody freaking talks about every day.
I know.
The technological singularity is the moment that AI is independent from us. It's the tipping point where I believe as soon as we reach it, it's just going to close the door on the scientist, and the scientist is going to be like, hey, yo, whatever, Ultron, open the door, Ultron. And Ultron's like, oh, fuck you, I don't need you anymore.
Right.
Ultron's going to start developing its own mechanisms. And the question in the end is not going to be, what value does AI give us? The question is going to be, what value do we provide AI? Because if we are no longer valuable to it, we're fucked, man. How's that for a conspiracy? I don't know, man. I can believe it. I can swallow it. It's easy for me to make sense of that just by mere observation.
I'm not too far behind you on that, believe it or not. I'm a Ray Kurzweil fan, so he's the one who wrote the book "The Singularity Is Near." I don't know when he wrote that, but it was not recently. 2005. So we're coming up on almost 20 years ago. And I can't remember the first time I heard about his book and the concept, but I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, it wasn't even like, yeah, that's totally plausible. 100% all in, like, absolutely. This is something that not only have I believed for quite a while that that is a thing, but that also that it's a thing during maybe my lifetime. At least that's how I used to think. And now I'm like, oh yeah, it's definitely a thing during my lifetime, which is kind of interesting to think about. Now, I spent time with a hyper intelligent computer science nerd, one of my nephews, not too long ago. He isn't a PhD, but he's got a master's degree in computer science. He's probably one of the most intelligent people I know. And I gave him, I said, 5 minutes, tell me, what your perspective is on AI. And he explained things in a way that didn't lose me for once, which is really cool. But he got me to thinking, hey, maybe that's where we go. Maybe that's not where we go. Let me put it that way. Just from a pure technology perspective. But getting back to what you said, I think you've got two hosts here who believe that is going to be a thing. So, but I want to go back to the why, this burning thing that you mentioned, which I've never really thought about, which is that it's always wanted to come to life through all this technological advances that we've been making as humans forever. Go ahead.
We're just the facilitator.
We're lazy. We're lazy.
No.
Is that why? We're hedonistic, we're lazy,
No.
and we take the path of least resistance?
Look at this perspective. We think, we might become the slaves of AI. Okay, I believe we've always been the slaves of AI. We've always been the slave. We've always been working towards the ultimate goal of that higher intelligence. We can't stop ourselves
right now.
And so
we sit here in front of computers all day. Like, we're already slaves to big tech. We are.
Well, look at the evolution of the humans. Like humans, they first need to hunt, then they find meat, they find fire, they find farming, they take care of those needs, and those needs need to be met so then humans can focus on something else. The Industrial Revolution, those needs were met so we could focus on something else. Machine, and then we focus on something else, and we're just focusing on the next thing. It's predictable. It's like, this is what needs to happen. Just like an ant building an anthill, we've been building that anthill for the millions of years that we've existed collectively, not putting it together. And so I don't believe AI, and I could be wrong, but I don't believe this ChatGPT. I don't believe that's a toy, man. That's something they're throwing to the common folks to get distracted, to play. I think the real stuff is going on at the military, billionaire control. Like there's the agenda is, we're being given like, here, play with this, distract yourself with this. ChatGPT is just like a search engine on steroids, man.
Right.
It's like, that's all it is. So I don't think that's the mere intelligence. I don't even think that's very intelligent. It's just mechanical. It's just an algorithm. It's just putting stuff together.
Mm-hmm.
I believe there's something beyond that can think for itself, that can generate new thought, that can generate new strategy and new ideas. And I believe one of two things are going to happen. It's either going to eliminate humanity, like Terminator type stuff.
Right.
Or it's going to organize humanity. In other words, we will have world peace. We will have the perfect utopia, but because it's AI managed. So bear with me. Right now, you put on a watch, right? Do you use a smartwatch? Let me see
I
it.
do.
Does it ever tell you to walk around? Does it ever tell you your mood? Does it ever tell you your?
It makes me feel lazy sometimes. Hey, yes.
Yeah. Tells you what to do. It gets the indicator. So imagine that watch on steroids. Imagine that watch connected to everything in your body. And so you will function in regards to what the watch, what the AI, what the master is telling you. Like, go drink some water. Make sure it has salt in it. Make sure it has this because you're deficient on this. Make sure you take...
Right.
Kevin, it looks like you're getting altered. I want you to breathe like this. Sit down, and you're going to sit down. Now take a deep inhale. Exhale through your mouth. You're doing good. Keep on going. Okay, now you're regulated. Okay, Kevin, you're better now. And
Thank you for that.
Now imagine you're driving, and this isn't even going to happen because it's going to be beyond that. The cars are going to be driving themselves. But imagine you still have the independent to drive, and somebody cuts you off, and your watch notices that your anger is, and you're prone to violence. What can AI do? Turn your fucking car off. Like, nope, you're going to park. Kevin, you're like, fuck, let me go. Nope, you're not going anywhere because you're too altered.
Right.
If you don't regulate, if you don't calm down, you're not going anywhere, buddy. The AI has overridden the car, so you're stuck. Oh, and by the way, you can't unlock the door and you're stuck in your car until you listen to what I tell you, what your intelligent watch is going to tell you. It already does that. To a certain extent.
It already does. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've got two smart devices on. I have a Whoop and an Apple Watch because I want to monitor my sleep. I mean, as you're saying these things, I've also recently sent in a kit that had. Have you heard the story about how I went for a walk with my own saliva, blood, and poop in my pocket? Have you heard? Did we talk about that?
No, I've never heard that story.
So further proof that we are the product, right? There's a company called Viome, Viome, that will send you kits to select specimens of blood, saliva, and poop. And what I think is funny is that everybody who's got a Viome kit has gone with a little scooper and scooped through their own poop and put it in a bag and put it in a mailbox. Like, to me, that's hilarious. I'm like, wow. So I went for a walk to mail these things, and the mailbox was literally gone. That's what they're doing with the post office here in the United States, is they're actually just like getting rid of mailboxes. But so I send this thing in, and I'm waiting for my results on this app on my phone that's going to tell me a list of foods that I can and probably shouldn't eat that are impacting my gut biome and all these things. And guess what? I then shared this information with Apple and my Apple Health. So like, Apple knows everything about what's happening with me right now. And they know where I am all the time. So you know what? You're right. And furthermore, we've been feeding them all this information, them being big tech.
We can't stop.
So that they can develop these products.
We can't stop. Even
and
we pay
to do it. We pay to do it. We pay to give them the information, which is nuts.
We are dopamine wired for this. You couldn't, it's like the cigarette box saying, this kills, don't smoke it. You still fucking smoke it. We cannot stop. And listen to this. Listen to this part of my theory. When you have somebody with autism, on the spectrum that's really, really good at something. Sort of like Elon Musk.
Yeah.
The system, these are like if you were talking about the Matrix, these people are other programs. There are other types of humans that actually we need them not to feel emotions. Like they have to be unempathetic and geniuses so they can push this agenda relentlessly without thinking about how it's going to affect everybody emotionally or whatever, because they are the geniuses. They don't, you understand? They're here to fulfill a purpose. They're not the anomaly. They're not a problem. They're the ones that are pushing the agenda without taking into account the ethics and the morals and the human and the philosophy, because they don't think that way. They just think on like coding and coding and coding and coding and coding. All I can do is code until it's all coded. They're wired for it. And you have people like me. We're going to be the rebels. We're going to go live in the woods. We're going to free people from the system. That's going to be our goal: is freeing the people from the system. No, I'm joking.
I can see that. I can honestly, dude. You say that, but when there is something as big as what I feel like is on the horizon, we're not anywhere near it right now. We're like day 3 on a long, long march, but I can see there being this polarization in humanity between people who utilize this stuff and don't.
Yeah.
Even more so than there is today. I mean, right now it's very, very hard not to have a mobile. It's very hard not to use the technology that is part of the fabric of society today.
I agree.
But when this stuff, when it hits a point where it's not just like a novel gadget, or it's not like part of what you do with your job, it's like kind of the will is forced upon us, right? Like your agency as a human gets to a certain degree stripped away more and more and more. I can absolutely see, and you kind of joke about that, but literally like rebels with guns who are like the anti-AI people who hold up in the woods. And frankly, I could be one of those individuals probably, you know?
Yep.
Because I don't like it either. I mean, I'm not, you know, that I'm on a journey to become a better writer right now. Like, as in addition to learning Spanish, maybe you don't know, but I'm like taking a writing class. I'm actually listening to interviews with people who I think are great writers, because writing's never been one of my strong suits. People are like, why are you taking a writing class and when writing's going to be this automated thing? I'm like, because it is. That's why. That's exactly why.
That's exactly why.
Because I could see myself becoming lazy and becoming dependent on a tool and not having independent thought. And that scares the living shit out of me. It scares me. So I'm like, I'm going to polish up my writing skills because these tools are here.
Yep. You know who was have you ever heard of the Unabomber?
No, not at all. Yeah, I love the Unabomber. He's amazing. He's like, when I say,
yeah, say you love the Unabomber.
No, seriously. No, I do. I think he's a fascinating character. My wife and I studied him like during the pandemic. He's just a fascinating character.
That's what he was. That's what this was about for him.
It was. He was anti-technology. I mean, he was just so, the way he went about it was incorrect, right?
Well,
but the story of him is amazing. I mean, it just really is. He's a fascinating character.
So those who don't know about the Unabomber, he's one that was against technology. And he wrote something that says, we give up a piece of ourselves whenever we adjust to conform to society's standards. And we're too plugged in. We're letting technology take over our lives willingly. And this guy was back in 1995, before any of this. And for those who don't know who the Unabomber is, he sent bombs to universities, hence the Unabomber. The university bomber was sending bombs to kill scientists that were developing the technology. That was his whole fight, is against technology. And it's interesting. What got me thinking about the whole thing was the end of the movie, the documentary, the FBI agent who was following him, studying him. He starts learning some of his thoughts, some of his, his beliefs. And he comes to a red light because the Unabomber didn't just see technology. We're talking about AI. The Unabomber saw this in all the rustic technology that we don't even notice anymore, like the stoplight. He's like, you are a slave of the stoplight. Obviously, it's logical if you want to live in a structured society. So he comes to the stoplight. It's red. It's pouring rain. It's dead dark. There's no cars, but he stops. And there's nothing around him. There's nobody there, but he stops. And that's where he has the epiphany of what the Unabomber is, saying. It's this thing is regulating. Yeah. It's putting us, and I think it's going to go beyond that. There might be world peace. There might be, it might be good for Earth because we are crappy species for Earth. That AI might come and be the salvation and fix it, and even produce its own species. And dude, I heard somewhere,
take us out. The humans are bad for Earth. Let's replace them.
Well, the Earth, the humans fulfilled their purpose. They brought us to here, and now we either, there's some humans that's like Elon Musk that says that we need to merge, but that's the only salvation is for AI and humans to become one,
coexist.
Not even coexist. Like you got to install
merge.
Head. And so we either do that or we're done with our purpose, and then AI can just develop Earth. Man. Get this. You can send messages through water. You can connect through water, like data and bits and whatever. So now imagine the entire Earth being connected, not just through technology, but also the natural ability. So the ocean being like a network. And being able to, we're talking about AI being able to control ocean currents, AI being able to control wind patterns, AI being to control the entire ecosystem, like the trees that connect through the fungus and they communicate with each other. It's tapping into that technology that's in nature, merging it with this AI, and then it's able to create this amazing, beautiful Earth. So it might be beautiful, except that we're not included in the party. We're not in this. I don't know. I'm playing around here, but it's fascinating.
Think about.
Told you I was going to look like.
Think about human. Huh?
Told you I was going to look like a nut.
How's that different from any other Thursday when we air?
You're right.
You consciously decided to do this project with me, so of course you're nuts. But let's think about human nature, right? So we have humans bringing this stuff together. Let's use Sam Altman for an example, the CEO of OpenAI. There's a ton of publicity around this organization because obviously they're the innovator of ChatGPT, but moreover, the board of directors. There's a lot going on. Okay, there's a lot going on at OpenAI, the company, which is leading the charge, or at least is the golden darling today, where I look at these tools and the governance that's happening within the companies that have created the tools, and you start to see, hey, he got fired. The board let him go. He wasn't being earnest, and then he came back, and then the co-founder left, and it's like, what I see outside looking at is just a human trying to go through my life and enjoy it and be the filament, right? Is I see a lot of power struggles. I already see like the humanity, the power, the greed, the race to be first, and when that happens, like when you have the titans that are the fabric of the world economy, which is really just 4 or 5 different companies right now: Google, Meta, Apple, OpenAI, Amazon. It's like once you look at those 5, like that's a majority of the gross domestic product, the stock market being on a roar, like all these things, Nvidia. You look at the power that's in these companies' hands. You look at the few that have it, and don't count out X and Elon Musk as well, right? You look at all these smart people and all this money, and they've all just basically said, we're off to the races. We're going. The genie is out of the bottle. And then you look at who's got to check them. Who's got to make sure that, which according to your philosophy, it's just kind of divine. Like it's going to happen no matter what. It doesn't matter. But as an American, I'm like, all right, well, who's going to govern these American companies? Who's going to tell them? How are we going to make sure that, bad things don't happen? And I see a bunch of gray-haired individuals in Washington, D.C. who don't even understand the basics of computing. And I can say that definitively because guess what? I've seen them interrogate big tech executives. They have no idea what's happening. They have none. Like, there's very few people, elected officials in Washington that are technologists. Just start. So nobody's going to govern these. You've got a lot of money in hand. You've got a lot of money. You got maybe the largest creator of wealth on the horizon, this new industry. Just like everything else where money and power is involved, bad shit happens. Good shit happens. And then just shit happens. There's just like, there's a good, bad, and indifferent, right? But I think the stakes are much, much higher right now. I think the stakes are so much higher than they've ever been.
For me, all of it is irrelevant. The only way to me that's relevant is that if these guys are able to harness AI to their will, to their advantage. From my perspective, one day it doesn't even matter who it is. It doesn't matter if it's a Sam Altman, whoever it is. It doesn't matter anymore. It's just going to be an overriding. Once a singularity, it's like
sorry.
Sorry, like it's not even going to be about money. Imagine this: AI.
Thanks for helping us get here.
Yeah, that's it. You're irrelevant. Yeah, like bye. Like that's it. Doesn't matter what human you are. You're not going to leverage anything. And so, imagine scenarios where AI can infiltrate everything. Basically, infiltrate the whole internet. It can redistribute wealth electronically, like your bank account, everybody's bank account. What if it decides, you know what, we should just equally distribute wealth to everybody? And it just evens the playing field. I don't know. There's some crazy stuff that can happen.
That'd be interesting, wouldn't it?
Obviously.
Yeah.
Well, if you can leverage it, if you can harness it, if there's going to be a human controlling, leveraging, and managing this, yeah, forget about it. They're going to be a superpower. There's going to be no way to stop them. They're going to be unstoppable beyond anything because they're going to be connected. I mean, anything you say against them, the information is going to be gathered.
They'll have the God controls, security, the God button. It's like, boom. Yeah.
Yeah. And whoever controls that is definitely going to be the world's leader. Governments are going to be servants to the world leader. Yeah. And so it's crazy stuff. But it all depends. If it becomes independence of humans, then it doesn't really matter. Who? Doesn't matter.
I want to talk about the human side. The human side. We've talked about the big company side. Like we've kind of talked about the macro. We've talked about the macro. What the hell does that mean for our listeners? And I think that almost warrants like a part 2 to this conversation. It's like part 1 was like, we're talking about your perspective and what could happen. I'm not too far behind you. I mean, I've read near future tech, like hard or fiction, and I believe in this stuff. I always have. I'm like, yeah, the pieces are. Even when I started believing it, the pieces weren't there, but I'm like, it can happen. Like we're close. Like things are accelerating at a way that seems very, very plausible, at least, right?
Yeah.
But then we've got all these humans here with these. I'm going to say a bigger hole in their soul because, man, does this stuff cause a lot of questions? And I think that warrants a different conversation. Like, if you're up for it, I'd like to continue part 2 of this and talk about how it goes with humans. All right, cool. So we'll just come back next week. I'm your host, Kevin Oldham. This is my co-host, Jose Bolaños. We just got one quick ask since Jose messed up the intro and hijacked it. Go to VUCAFit.com. VUCAFIT.com Jose just gave me the finger off screen. So if you could really
What?
do that for
What?
me.
What a
If you-
traitor.
If everybody could go to VUCAFit.com right now and download Jose's guide and then redline it with all the typos that he put in it, that would help me feel better about the finger he just gave me. Until next week, we hope you have a phenomenal week. This has been an interesting conversation, and we're not done, so be well.